Hello, everybody. It's the old bear from the Old Bear's Den in Bigfoot, and today I'm gonna bring you a UFO experience. A lady sent this to me, and I told her I would do it, and I'm going to. If our neighbors don't want to destroy their house, whatever they're doing over there. But there's something else I wanted to do first, and I wanted to get y'all to take a look at this. A gentleman made this for me. I asked him to. He is Sukulu. He goes by that. That's his the name that he goes by. Not Sukulu, but anyway, he made this walking stick for me. Um, it is a beautiful walking stick. It has Bigfoot right here. It has the thing I'm most proud of, the cross on it. And at the top of it, it's got a bear's head. It is beautiful. I am part Cherokee, and it means a lot. It has it's a great item, and you can get one too. You just need to get all in touch with him. You can reach him through KG's channel. He's on my list of video channels, and it's beautiful, and it's priceless to me. So if you want one, you want him to make you one, he will. It just takes a little time to get them made. And he does wonderful work. It's all hand work. It's all hand done. And they're personalized to the way that you want them done. Sorry, but I have a habit. And it's kind of a bad one, but anyway, let's get to the UFO experience. And my dear friend, this is for you. I'm not giving her name out, so she asked not to be recognized. She starts out by saying, "Here's my account of the UFO that I saw in the winter of 1969 and 70. She was in college, and she was on a women's fencing team. And after she graduated, she worked with a lady that wanted to learn how to fence. So she would go over one night a week to the lady's basement and teach her the basics on fencing. She doubted that she would be a master swordsman, but she was doing her best. The lady was doing as best good as she could. But they had lots of fun doing this. After the session, that once a week, one night a week, they would always sit and chit chat and drink a Coke or a cup of coffee, while they chit chatted. And she says usually the gabbing lasted longer than the fencing session. You can do with that what you want. I'm not touching that one. My wife's standing right there. So, anyway, one evening she was on her way home from one of the sessions, and it was late enough that things had pretty much closed down after 10:30 or 11 o'clock, and there was no traffic on the road. I was driving along the frontage road paralleling the interstate just outside of town. This was in mid-central Ohio. That's as close as I'm getting with this. Coming towards me up the interstate, I noticed what I first thought was a helicopter. I was watching it because we live in a small town and seldom saw any helicopters, especially at night. After a minute, I realized there was no sound with it at all. No engine sounds, no whopping of the blades. Nothing at all. At that point, I pulled up to the side of the road and stopped. I rolled down the window to watch and listen. The object continued to come toward me. I'm not good at estimating distances, but it was probably 50 feet above the tall lights along the highway. I sat there watching. It did seem to be following the interstate. What had first caught my attention were the lights. There was one on top of the object, like the bubble light on a police car, and another below it that might have been a spotlight, but it was just glowing like the one on top. Along the middle of the object, there was a band of dim light with a definitively brighter light at each end, maybe like windows on a bus or a train. I didn't see anything inside the band. It just glowed in the darkness. When the object was directly opposite me, following the interstate, and this was across 4 lanes of the interstate with the median strip as well as the area between the frontage road and the actual highway away from her. And you can estimate the distance. I'd say 70, 80 feet, probably more, 10, 40, 60 feet, 70, 80, between 80 and 100 feet. Anyway, when it was opposite me, I could see the reflection of the interstate lights reflecting off the metallic bottom of the object. It was a gentle curve like the bottom of the proverbial saucer. Since I only saw it from the side, I can't say if the entire shape was a disc or a cigar shape. Maybe it was saucer because it went on past the basic outline, didn't seem to change. What kept me so fascinated was the fact that there was never any sound. None. I watched it for quite a while, but there was never any noise from it. I was so focused on the object that I really can't tell you if any truck or car traffic passed while I watched. But I don't believe there was. The sound of the trucks would have registered with me. It was just then, when I saw the dim lights along the side and the reflection underneath, that I finally admitted that just maybe I was watching a UFO. I twisted in my seat to watch it follow the interstate up along the river until it came to a plant that did something with cryogenics. Now, back in this time, the cryogenic was a fledgling science. They believed that they could freeze your body after you died, and somewhere down the road we would be able to reanimate you, bring you back to life, and thaw you out to bring you back to life to fix whatever was wrong with you, your heart, lungs, something of that nature. Science still can't do that. Only one can, and that would be God. So, anyway, I'm not going to get into that. Man has his beliefs, and sometimes science is wrong in trying to do something, but we're going to leave it alone. She doesn't believe that she's done a good job of describing the isolated feeling of driving along the dark frontage road and the relative brightness of the interstate. With this dimly reflected object moving along above it. I wasn't frightened at all. She said she wasn't frightened at all. And she also wanted to say, of course, distance made, the object grows smaller, but the lights at the top and the bottom were still evident. It didn't zip along the way most UFOs seem to be described, just a slow glide. It went over top the cryogenics plant and rose straight up and disappeared. Even after it disappeared in the distance, I sat there in the darkness. It was hard to admit that I had actually seen what honestly appeared to be a UFO. It wasn't until years later that she actually told a few people. First, she admitted to hesitating in doing that. Then she thought that she didn't think others would believe her. As you can see by the date, it has been almost 50 years since this happened, and I've still not described the event to more than a dozen people, if that many. Well, I hope this has made sense to you. I'm sorry I'm not a dramatic storyteller, and this may sound a little bit clinical in the telling. But all these years later, when I close my eyes, I can still see that shape reflected above the interstate lights. She knows it's not a Bigfoot account, and she apologizes to me for that for some reason. There's no need for an apology. This is something that happened to you, and I'm more than glad to put it out there. You're a wonderful lady, and we love you. And that's her account of seeing a UFO. So I hope each and every one of you take it at face value and listen to her story, listen to her account, and look up once in a while. You might see something strange. We love you guys. Bye-bye. Old Bear's out of here. Don't forget